Hey guys, welcome to our first episode of Moms Unbothered, except it's not our first episode. This is I think our third take of taking our first episode. We had some technical difficulties. My camera was not good. My mic was not good. And then I upgraded to everything Jordan has. So now we're back in business. But I'm Kate, also known as That Crunchy Mom Kate on Instagram. And this is Jordan.
Also known as The Modernistic Holistic on Instagram.
And we are two mom friends who are also crunchy moms. And we kind of wanted to start a podcast just to go over things that we think are probably more controversial that we do, topics that maybe some people shy away from speaking about, and just overall topics that we feel like are interesting and could help people learn more, not only about just like who we are, but also topics that maybe you haven't thought about researching yourself.
Yeah. Maybe a little conspiracy theories here and there. We'll have lots of fun guests on. It'll be fun.
Yes. And if you're listening to the podcast, guys, we got to keep an open mind. Maybe we'll talk about some things you've never thought about, or some things where you're like, okay, you guys are insane. But remember, you guys love us on Instagram. You love the info we provide on Instagram. So maybe if we are smart in those aspects, maybe we're also smart in these subjects that aren't as talked about. So yeah, we're excited to kind of just bring you a podcast that comes with a bunch of different topics.
Yes. Open mind is important. We would not be where we are today without open minds, because we both came from non-open-minded past selves. So open minds for sure.
Amen. And if you are also listening to this podcast, never think we're judging. If you have never thought about these topics or things that we talk about, like Jordan and I were both crazy girls in college. We drank, didn't think twice about what we were eating, what we were putting into our bodies. It wasn't until we started experiencing symptoms that we wanted to kind of take control of our health. So we're never judging. Jordan was super crunchy in her pregnancy. I had no idea I was pregnant. When I was like still out drinking. I didn't do any prenatal care. Like I didn't do any of the pre-planning things. So when you listen to these episodes, never feel like mom guilt. Because I didn't start out as a crunchy mom. I kind of was introduced to it. Whereas like Jordan, she was full blown crunchy before she even started. So it'll be a bit of like, you can see two different sides. Like me, I did no preparation for anything. Jordan did a ton of preparation. So never feel judged when you're listening to this podcast. We're not judging you. We don't care. We don't even know what you guys did. So this is just kind of our thoughts. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this episode. I think we're going to start going over kind of who we are, why we started, and then maybe touch on like some fun facts about us. Jordan, do you kind of want to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Jordan. I live in Oklahoma, because I get that question a lot. Oklahoma, the Army brought us here. So from Washington State. And let's see, I sort of started this crunchy life probably 6 or 7 years ago now, when I got off of birth control after 10 years. I was just always sick all through college, high school even. I got diagnosed with arthritis. I was so inflamed. We'll have to put pictures of our college selves, both of our faces in college. Like we're so puffy and not fat, just puffy, like just chronically inflamed, and neither of us were feeling good. Back to myself though. So yeah, I decided to go off birth control when I sort of started learning about how negative birth control can be. And then that's when like my symptoms just sort of flooded in, heavy periods, terrible stomach pains. I ended up getting a colonoscopy and going to all these different doctors, and everybody's like, oh, you're fine. And I'm like, no, I'm not fine. So I sort of started to take control of my health. I started following health Instagrams like Dr. Haley Schaff, who we will have on. And I just sort of started to learn like I don't need to live in this toxic sludge that I was living in, and like the things I was eating and doing. And so I actually became an integrative health practitioner. I went through that course. And then I became a big birth nerd, and I became a doula, and I plan to be a midwife one day, but that just sort of all spiraled. And now my house is crunchiness, and I am crunchiness. And yeah, I'm feeling great now, and just gave birth 4 months ago. So I'm excited to talk about everything I've learned.
Amazing. And Jordan gave birth at home, you guys. She is like the crunchy mom of crunchy moms. There's like, I think there's different layers. I'm a bit in the middle. Jordan is like crunchy, give birth at home, do all those things. Like she's top tier crunchy mom.
Yeah.
If you guys are listening to this podcast, you probably know I am Kate as that crunchy mom Kate on Instagram and TikTok. I really started my journey after I gave birth to my son. I was chronically sick. I was having crazy symptoms, fell out of my body 24/7. I felt like my brain was on fire. My eyes were so heavy all the time. Really bad brain fog. I would like look at my hands and feel like they weren't my hands. It was so weird. Like it was a complete out of body experience. For years, no doctors could figure out what was wrong. I had a crunchy daycare provider for my son, and she kind of started planting seeds as well into me like, hey, have you ever thought about vaccines? And I'm like, honestly, not really, but in pregnancy, like I knew I didn't want to get them, so I didn't. And just like my crunchy mom alarms were starting to go off, but it was like before I knew what a crunchy mom was. So I really did a deep dive once my son experienced brain swelling after his 4-month shots. So that's kind of when I was like, all right, I'm done with Western medicine. I do think there's a time and place, but it's not for getting better for me and my son personally. So I kind of found the holistic world, and it really literally changed my life. And then I wanted to start speaking my truth on social media, and that's kind of how everything really happened. But yeah, we're excited to bring you guys this podcast and just go over topics that like most people don't want to talk about. And you're probably wondering like, where's the Moms Unbothered part coming? And I think it's just because Jordan and I are the types of moms that like, just because every other mom is doing this doesn't mean we're going to. And we don't care what other people are thinking because of our choices. We're really just like what feels best to us, and our mama bear instincts is what we're going with. And like, if you don't agree with it, we're still sleeping well at night. So that's kind of where
it's not going to bother us.
Yeah, it's not going to bother. So that's kind of where the name came from. But yeah, Jordan, should we give some like fun facts about us to start it off?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, you go first.
Oh, okay, I'll go first. My first fun fact is that my married name is the same as my maiden name. So I did not have to change any spelling or legal papers, no IDs or passports, which was really nice. And the first question people ask is, oh, are you sure you're not related? And I am sure we are not related. So you'll have to go to my profile and be the judge for yourself to see. But I don't think we are.
They're not related. My first fun fact is, I forget if I already said this, but I got pregnant in college, my senior year. So yeah, I feel like that's not really common. That's not really what's going on these days. So yeah, I got pregnant at 22, had Barrett at 23. And that was really kind of the start of my like, oh my gosh, I got to change my life.
I couldn't imagine, like, I'm like 22, I was a baby. Like, I couldn't imagine having a baby at 22.
You know what's crazy is our frontal lobes aren't developed until 26. So it's like, who's letting me be a mom before my frontal lobe is developed?
Isn't that crazy? Like, our bodies, like, we're in our prime childbearing years and like our teen years, but our brains are not.
Yeah, literally. And I feel like I just had like such a switch though. Like the day I found out I was pregnant, I feel like I just like flipped a switch and I was just like, I don't know, it just came natural to me. But to think back on like, oh my gosh, like I was still so young and immature, and I wasn't thinking like, the best way I can describe it is I was thinking day to day. I was not thinking like future me. It was just, yeah. So
yeah. Well, we'll have an episode with your birth story on there for sure.
Yeah, for sure. What's your second?
Well, you gave a little spoiler, but my second was that I gave birth at home.
I ruined
4 months ago. That's my fun fact for sure. I didn't know. I didn't have any friends that gave birth at home, no family members, so I'm just definitely the black sheep in that way. But I will definitely be telling my birth story because I will talk about it every day and all day to whoever will listen.
I love it. I feel like that's also my fun fact for you because I love telling people like, yep, Jordan's a first-time mom and she literally gave birth at home without knowing anyone that also did it. Like, that's just so cool to me.
I still can't believe I did it.
Yeah, it's amazing. I love it so much. Okay, my next fun fact is I played softball in college. I went to a JUCO for 2 years, and then I transferred to my hometown college where I finished the last 2 years. It's where I met Barrett's dad. And obviously that's when I got pregnant. But yeah, I played softball for 3 of my 4 years. My senior year, everyone just kind of quit because we didn't like our coach. And thank God I did, because then I got pregnant.
It's meant to be. My third fun fact is that in college, I did an internship with the Denver Nuggets for a month. So that was really fun. I worked directly with the players and with the coaches, and I did like PR stuff. And then I just did like, even like really just like going to get water or answer fan mail. So that was fun. And I learned a lot. I obviously am not using my degree, which was in communications, but yeah, that was fun.
Do you understand sports really well? Like, are you a sports girl?
Yeah. I played some sports back in the day too. And I love to watch pretty much all sports. I'm so sorry, but like we just hope our daughter does not play softball. And I'm so sorry. It's just like so boring
okay.
to watch. But if she's, they're still athletic, and I respect the softball players, but it is not the most fun to watch. If we had a son, I wouldn't want him playing baseball either.
Yeah,
So.
I respect it. It is. It can be very boring, and the games take forever, and there's usually 2 instead of 1. So I get that. Okay, my third fun fact is, I don't know if this is very fun, but I'm left-handed, and I feel like not many people are left-handed. So I think that's kind of cool. Barrett bats lefty, but he throws righty. So we've got a little ambidextrous in him. But yeah, my third fun fact is that I am left-handed. And there's no one in my family that is besides me and my uncle. So
Interesting, because you have a big family
yeah,
too.
I know.
I am right-handed, but I kick left-footed, and I like ride like snowboards and skateboards left-footed.
Oh, okay. Ambidextrous, right? Does that count?
Yeah. I don't know. I cannot for the life of me write with my left hand. So
Yeah, I cannot write with my right either.
yeah, my grandma was left-handed. I remember like going to her house, we'd have to have like left-handed scissors and like the mouse and stuff on the computers on the other side. I'm like, this is crazy.
Wait, now that you say that, I only use the mouse on the right side, and I bet it was because in school they weren't like accommodating to the left-handed community. Yeah, that would feel so weird if I had to use the mouse with my left hand. Wow.
So lefties out there, let us know, what has the world done to you?
Seriously.
How has it treated you differently?
I think I also use scissors with my right hand, now that you're saying all these things.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and it was probably
my grandma had like special left-handed
Yeah,
scissors.
and it's probably because school didn't have them for me. Huh.
So those are some fun facts about us. You'll be learning a lot more about us on future episodes, because we love to talk about ourselves. We just love to talk. So look forward to that. And also every month we plan to release a Q&A episode. So questions from you guys, our audience. So definitely be sure to follow us on Instagram to submit your questions. Those are always really fun to answer, and it allows us to get to know you guys better, which we love too. So we look forward to those episodes.
Yeah, we've recorded these episodes before, so we've gotten like some really good questions in the inbox, and they are pretty juicy and just topics that maybe we don't cover on our Instagram, or more like personal things that we'd prefer to talk about via podcast than replying to a DM or replying on Instagram. So there'll be a lot of more personal aspects going into this podcast. So if you were looking to get to know us, this is the place to be. Jordan, tell us a couple topics that you are excited to talk about on the podcast that maybe we don't always talk about on Instagram.
Oh yeah. So I am really excited to just touch on like fun things like conspiracy theories. I'm not saying I believe everything I read, and I'm not saying I believe everything from the government either, but I just love a good conspiracy theory. I'm so excited for those. I'm obviously very excited for like birth episodes. We're going to have some like birth professionals on and to tell my birth story. And I'm also really excited to just hear from other people, just have like other guests. Like I know you asked for one thing I'm excited for, but these are all the things I'm excited for. Just other guests, because I just feel like everyone has so much knowledge, and you just like don't know what you don't know until you know it. And it's just so fun to learn. And I'm I'm really excited about the podcast for those reasons.
Yeah, and I feel like it's so much easier to go in depth on a podcast rather than just like answering a quick question in DM or on stories. Like we can't give the full picture, we can't give the full rundown. So I think it'll be really nice to have like people who want to talk about their expertise and just word vomit all of their knowledge. I think it will be a lot easier for people to absorb. I know I learn a lot from podcasts, so I can't wait to bring other speakers on to kind of talk. Obviously, my favorite part, not only will it be just telling more about ourselves, but you guys know I love to talk about shots. And I feel like I can't do that on Instagram. I feel like I just get shadow banned when I do. And I think if people can listen to these episodes with an open mind, they will be mind blown. They will learn so much. And I think it will just be really educational and just eye-opening for people in general to hear more topics discussed.
Yes. So we actually, one of our first interviewees.
Yeah.
Is that right? Would you say interviewees? Okay. Yeah. So one of our first interviewees was actually Just the Inserts is her name on Instagram. And she recently came out. She was anonymous. Her name's Alexandra. We recorded that episode before we fixed the audio. But that episode was just so good not to share. It's just a great conversation. So that will be our first release after you're listening to this. So just bear with us through the audio. It's not terrible. I just don't have your volume up all the way. If your volume's not up all the way, it's not awful. So, yeah, that'll just be a really good conversation. It's all about informed consent when it comes to vaccines and some like facts and myths, some rumors going on. Like she just sort of clarifies all that. So that'll be a great listen.
And she's coming at you guys with the .gov resources, all right? It's not like she's just making up her own research. It's not like she just read some little blurb on the internet. Like she's coming at you with the .gov resources. So there's no denying what she's saying. There's no saying she's not telling the truth. Or if you decide to say she's not telling the truth, then you're deciding to say that the .gov resources are not reliable. So yeah, I'm really excited for that episode. It will be so good. There won't be any video with it either, just because it was not great quality. So going forward, our episodes will be video, just not the first release that we're doing because we couldn't re-record it. That episode was so good. It was so candid. We talked about so many good topics that she even said she hasn't really covered online before. So I think it will be just so educational. And again, have an open mind when you go listen to it. Don't let us scare you away with our first episode being so blunt. But that's kind of who we are. We're just blunt people. The podcast is called Moms Unbothered for a reason, because we're not afraid to talk about topics that were probably a little bit woo-woo to others, because we are just woo-woo in general.
They were woo-woo to us at one point too.
Yeah,
so now they're just
I remember thinking like, ew, anti-vax people are so gross. Like, why would you not? Like, and I was so uneducated, but it's just like, I was just listening to the media and the people around me of what I was saying. But I was like, oh my gosh, I had such strong opinions for a topic that I have never researched myself. And
that I knew nothing about. Yeah. I just trusted everybody around me. It turns out they knew nothing about it too.
It's crazy now to see that people have such strong opinions on topics they've never bothered researching before. It's so wild to me to like now be able to take a step back, like take the emotion out of it and just watch other people like spew all this crazy hate. And I'm like, you've never even gone to a .gov site yourself. So where are your facts coming from?
That's kind of why I hate the term anti-vax, because it's just got such a negative connotation. Like, oh, they're just crazy and like anti this, but it's just like, no, I'm just like pro-choice, pro-informed consent. Like, just make your own decisions, but learn about it first.
And I don't mind being called the anti-vax mom. I hope you guys think of me as the anti-vax mom. But yeah, I just pro-informed consent. I wish just people had the opportunity to make their own decisions, not feel rushed, not feel like they're going into the PEDS office and just like, oh my gosh, like they're telling me I have to do this and I have to do it. Cause I get that feeling. I had it too. Hence why I vaccinated until 4 months. But yeah, I'm excited. That episode will be so good.
Yeah. Cannot wait. Must listen, and you must share for everybody to learn too. So I think that concludes our first episode, our intro episode, just a little get to know us. Like I said, you will get to know us throughout. We hope to release 1 episode a week. And yeah, we are so excited. Listen for our next episode. And we look forward to it. Bye.